guys, Marsengan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we will be doing the team building guide for STR Cooler's EZA, basically the new best EZA TUR in the game. If you haven't seen any of the footage of him and stuff like that, he is insane. I will be live tomorrow when his EZA comes out, or later this evening, depending on what time zone you're in when you watch this video. But when his EZA comes out, I will be live streaming, so make sure you come check it out, and we'll get him EZA'd and start testing him out actually on stream. So they don't have a page up on the wiki for his EZA event yet, but fortunately I do have the info thanks to the Dokkan info website, so shout out to them. But the category for this EZA is going to be Exploding Rage, which is an interesting choice. I guess technically, the Super Saiyan Goku is on here, right? So it's kind of relevant to the movie, but I mean, they could have made a slightly better choice, because this category is definitely not going to give you the most options. Now, one thing I will say is, on the plus side of that, usually EZAs, if they give you a really small or really limited category, usually the EZA is not particularly difficult compared to some of the other ones. And then obviously you kind of have to remember that if you can't make a full team of Exploding Rage, your best bet is always, of course, going to be to add in extra AGL units, you know, running teams, even units like the LR Gods and the LR Super Saiyan 4s from the anniversary, if you pulled them. Because on turn 1 they have guard, it's probably best not to put them in slot 1, but you know, I've gone through a lot of EZAs on my side JP account and just beaten them with the Gods team, even though none of the units were in the right category. It just makes it really hard in the later stages, and if you catch a super, you know, especially the Gods, if they don't have their guard, you will die and potentially have to try again, but it's not going to be as difficult. Now, the thing about this that's going to make it very difficult is, obviously, EZAs, there is always a typing that gets damage reduction, so basically does no damage as you get towards the end. It's past stage 20, I believe, and for this one, it is int. So int units are not going to do any damage once you get past stage 20. And then unfortunately, all extreme units are on that list as well. So basically you have to use, if you want to do damage, decent damage past stage 20, you have to use Super AGL, Super Tech, Super STR, and Super Physical, which obviously Cooler himself is STR, so you're not necessarily going to want to bring a ton of physical units, but we will see how it goes. So, as always with my team building guides, I'm going to go through my top picks and honourable mentions. If there are any units I forget to mention or that you think I should have talked about in more detail, let me know down below in the comment section. And obviously, if you do find this guide helpful at all, do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, jumping straight in, obviously we start off with the actual leader for the category is Beerus. Now, Beerus has definitely aged quite a bit. He gets a buff to both attack and defense after he gets hit, but in an event like this against an STR enemy, I probably wouldn't want to be putting him in slot 1, especially in the later stages. I mean, people have been talking about it because obviously Cooler's EZA is so good, but this guy's future potential EZA is going to be crazy. But in terms of how he is now, definitely not great. He has type disadvantage as well, of course. Now, there's no Realm of Gods enemy, so he doesn't get as effective against all types. So basically, if he's not critting, he's not really going to do a lot of damage. But if you don't have any other options, he is an Exploding Rage leader. So he's probably kind of the go-to unit if you just don't have anyone else to lead the category. But we will talk about other ways you can build the team without specifically using an Exploding Rage leader. So the other Exploding Rage lead that we have in the game, who is a free-to-play unit, is this Prime Battle Str Gohan. I mean, he's not great, and his leader skill is only 130, so if you have to use him as a leader, you know, your team is going to be a little bit weaker overall. But as a Prime Battle LR that does not yet have his EZA, all of his passive boosts and stuff are all flat numbers. But he can be pretty decent, as long as you have a Goku on the team with him as well. He gets pretty good, especially if that Goku's in the same turn. He can look relatively decent. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a top pick if you are running all of the top choices of summonable units, but he definitely is a solid free-to-play option. So then we move on to this Aglr Gohan. So unironically, he's probably going to be one of the best units in this EZA because he's got type advantage. He's still a solid unit. He raises defense on super. So, I mean, after he gets some supers off, he's not really going to be taking damage from anything unless it's like a super attack in the final phases. So he is going to be looking pretty good. Obviously, on this team and with this enemy, there's no way to get his transformation. So he's just going to be Super Saiyan 1 Gohan. But, I mean, what else is new, right? That's been this unit's MO for pretty much his entire life cycle so far. 3 years old now, this unit is. But yeah, he's going to be very solid for this event. Unfortunately, you can't really make a full Kamehameha or Super AGL team. Actually, I think you might be able to make a full Kamehameha team that is also Exploding Rage. But if you can't, I think rather than using somebody like Beerus, it would be better to use this Gohan as the leader and then just bring a full Kamehameha team, put on as many of the units that are on Kamehameha and Exploding Rage as you can, and then just put the rest as like Super AGL units or really good defensive units. And then, obviously, you should be able to get through. And it will just be a case of hoping you don't get supered on the wrong units when you're in those later stages. So, we also have the Tech Super Saiyan Goku. Now, if you run him as a leader, if we look at the Powerful Combat category, there's a couple of units on here that are on Exploding Rage. But not like, I don't know if you can make a full team. You could still do very well using him as the leader and then throwing on units like the new AGL Super Saiyans if you have them, UI Goku, like Blue Evolution Vegeta. There's some AGL units on here that would still be pretty good, but I don't think you can make a full Exploding Rage team. But Goku himself, obviously going to be very good. Super good slot 1 tank, has a revival, has an active skill. So he's one of the top picks for the team for sure, just not necessarily as the leader. But depending on your box, like 200% powerful comeback is still a very strong team. So that could end up being the best team that you can make for this event. So next up we have the Int Namek Goku. Now the only reason I include him is because of his leader skill. As we already said, you can't really do damage with int units in the later stages, but leading legendary existence or Super Saiyans, you absolutely can make a full team with him, even if they're not all on Exploding Rage. Just like I said previously, just put in Super AGL units to cover the gaps. And obviously Super Saiyans, there's a lot of very good options there, especially with Super AGL. So as a last resort, I would probably even use this guy as a leader over Beerus, for example. Because even though this guy won't do damage, if you just deliberately go for his 12 key supers, because he's on the category, he will actually tank reasonably well. He just won't be doing a lot of damage, but I don't think that's necessarily a huge issue. So I would probably use him as a leader over Beerus, as long as you can make a decent team out of his leader skill. Obviously, if you really are short on options and you have to run like a full Exploding Rage team, then obviously Beerus could work out better. But overall, definitely this guy is the better option. So next up we have Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. He has a Movie Heroes lead, so some of the units that we've talked about are on Movie Heroes already. Now, of course, I should mention God Goku. You know, anytime there's a pure Saiyan EZA, you have to mention Caulifla. Anytime there's a movie bosses or a pure Saiyan EZA, you have to mention God Goku. Even if God Goku doesn't have a leader skill, obviously he's going to have ridiculous damage reduction against Cooler, so he'll be very good on the team. And if you do end up running this guy as the leader, he will be covered by the Movie Heroes leader skill, but you can literally run God Goku without a leader skill, and he would still be good defensively in this EZA. So maybe he would still take damage from a super in like stage 30, but he's still going to be pretty good overall. This Gohan has aged in terms of defense. He does raise defense on all of his super attacks, and he has the built-in chance to additional. So his defense can be reasonably good. Remember that EZAs, even when you get towards the end, if you're using units from the specialized category, are never like super hard. So his defense will be good enough. It'll only be like if he doesn't get any additional supers and then takes a super attack in the later stages that he's going to take big damage. But he even still then should not get one shot. So he's a solid option for the team. I didn't mention the Int Super Saiyan 2 Gohan because obviously his damage is going to be massively nerfed, although he is quite decent defensively as well. So next up we have Bardock. So Bardock the meme, how could we not mention AGL Bardock? Obviously gets bonuses against Wicked Bloodline. You can literally transform straight away with him, which, I mean, you probably should in an EZA because they're quite short anyway. Now, he stacks defense, but you can transform, like I say, straight away. He gets guaranteed crits and launches an additional super that has a high additional attack that has a high chance to become a super when you're fighting a Wicked Bloodline enemy. And then, of course, when you transform, you have 5 turns of built-in crit and dodge. Obviously, you get guaranteed crits anyway, so bit of dodge. It is only 18%. And he does have 18% damage reduction. So, against an STR enemy, whilst he's definitely aged for the most difficult content in the game, in terms of an EZA against an STR Wicked Bloodline unit, like, he unironically is actually going to be very good and very useful. Like I say, just transform him straight away on turn 1, get those additionals, guaranteed crits, and he'll be doing pretty well. Like, make sure you remember to turn off the animations, or turn on the skip, I guess I should say, so you don't have to watch him transform every single time. As much as I never get sick of seeing his transformation thing, you probably don't want to have to watch it 30 times in a row in the space of, like, you know, 45 minutes or whatever while you're doing this EZA. But Bardock is actually a top pick for the team. So, next up we have this Saiyan as a support. I thought we'd throw him in here as an honourable mention. He is a World Tournament card, but he is very, very good. He's on Exploding Rage. He greatly raises his defense on Super, so he's going to be relatively good defensively. And then he's providing support to all Super class allies. He also gets buffs when there's an extreme class enemy, which there is. So he's going to be a very solid support unit, as well as being a decent unit that can hold his own somewhat. Like, again, stage 30, eating a super attack, he might take a bit of damage, but you're going to use him as a 3rd slot float anyway. So he should have super attacked before that and greatly raised his defense. So he's probably not getting one shot, even though he might end up taking a bit of damage. So if you do have this guy, he's going to be a very, very good support unit. I probably will use him on the team just to juice up everybody else and let them hit a little bit harder. Plus, like I say, he's on the category, so he should be able to hold his own reasonably well. Next up, we have the Namek Goku. I should have moved him earlier up the list, actually. I completely forgot, because I went down, as you can probably tell from the units we've mentioned so far, by typing. I meant to move him to the beginning, because just like we talked about with Namek Goku, Super Saiyans, you could run a team of them, so you could use him as the leader if you don't have the LR Namek Goku. And he's going to be very good. Like, post EZA, he obviously is very powerful. EZAs you can't heal, and in the later stages, if you get caught by a super early on, you might be able to transform with him on turn 3. EZAs don't usually last more than like 3 or 4 turns anyway, so you might not get to see him transform. In his base, he doesn't exactly have a crazy set of abilities, but he still will be very good, and he's on the category, right? So he can be a good stand-in lead, good unit on the team, got decent links, so he will work very, very well. He definitely is a top pick for the event and can be a stand-in leader as well. So definitely worth considering Namek Goku if you have him. And then last but not least, I thought I'd mention this Str Trunks as an honourable mention. He's a bit aged now as well, but he raises defense on Super, which can stack a couple of times if he gets additionals. He has damage reduction, and then the less HP you have, the more defense he has. So he's not as good on turn 1 as he would be on later turns, but he can still be reasonably good. I'm actually very excited to see what an EZA could do for this guy, but for now, in events like EZAs, which as we've already mentioned are not exactly the hardest events in the game, he could do pretty well. And like, he's on teams like Super Saiyans and stuff that we've mentioned already, that you could potentially be running different units as the leader for, and then this guy can fit very well on the team. So as you can see, not a huge amount of options, but when we look back at the category, all extreme units are getting a damage debuff, so it's not really worth bringing them in terms of offense. For defense, you could obviously still bring like Janemba. Full Power Frieza would probably be okay defensively. And then, like, for AGL units, like Cell obviously would be good defensively. It's just the fact that they're just not going to be doing any damage once you get to the later stages, which is very unfortunate. And when we look at the TURs, I mean, look how limited this category is. Like, all of the Super Saiyan Bardocks are on here, but they desperately need an EZA. KO is actually okay. She has really good damage reduction and defense for the first few turns. The only problem is she's physical, so you could get caught out. But otherwise, she could be pretty decent. This Super Saiyan 2 EZA Gohan is actually okay as well. But remember, you can't use same name units for EZAs. So when we talked about like the LRs, you can't use this Super Saiyan Goku and this Super Saiyan Goku. So obviously you can't use this Super Saiyan 2 Gohan or this one and then also use this one. This one will be solid. If you don't have either of the LRs, then obviously he could be a decent addition to the team. Kabe is a 50% Super STR support, and he's on Super Saiyans. So just by looking here, like, you could bring this Goku, this Trunks, this Kabe. Decent support for them would already be pretty good. Unfortunately, it's only Super Saiyans and not Super Saiyan 2, so these two don't fit on there particularly well. The Vegeta could be okay, I guess, right? Getting off some counters, doing a little bit of extra damage, but he's super outdated and really needs an EZA. I love this unit, but it really needs an EZA. So if he's getting caught by supers later on, he's going to take a lot of damage. And then some of these int units, again, like, none of these are really that great. Like, Blue Evolution, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta is pretty decent, but int units are getting a massive damage debuff. So I could see this one potentially being tricky for a lot of people, and this is why I said, like, you can build like a Super Saiyans team, a Kamehameha team, and any gaps that you need to fill that you don't have enough Exploding Rage units, just put in Super AGL units, or units that are very good defensively, like God Goku, and then you should be able to get through. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Like I said at the beginning, if there's any units you think I missed out, or any units I did talk about I missed a key aspect of why they would be good for this event, let me know down below in the comment section, and let me know what your team is going to look like for this EZA. So hopefully you guys are able to get it done. Hopefully I will see you at the stream as we get it done live. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that bell button to get the notifications. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. All that stuff. I always post in all of those places when I'm going to go live. So obviously then you'll be able to know, because YouTube is weird sometimes with the notifications. So if you're following me on Twitter and stuff like that, you will be able to see that I am going live. So let me know all your thoughts and your team builds down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.